It's no secret that Harley Quinn is completely out of her mind.
We're bad guys. It's what we do.
But I bet you didn't know the full extent of her madness. While she's been a fan favorite since her first appearance in Batman the Animated Series, her popularity keeps rocketing since Margot Robbie played her live-action version in 3 films so far. While the live-action version is only a wacky human, she has gained a few powers here and there throughout her long life in the DC Comics. In today's video, I'll reveal 22 shocking secrets about the clown-esque psychiatrist Gunn Looney. While the character of Harley Quinn debuted in movie form in Suicide Squad, she was also featured as an older antagonist in the short-lived 2002 TV series Birds of Prey. But did you know she almost made her fantastic silver screen debut in the 90s in a planned film that was to be called Batman Unchained? Sadly, the Batnips and Mr. Freeze pun-filled film Batman and Robin kind of killed the whole franchise, until Christopher Nolan stepped in to deliver his own version of The Dark Knight. Harley was set to be the daughter of Jack Nicholson's Joker, who was defeated by Batman in Tim Burton's adaptation. Since the apple never falls too far from the tree, Harley would have been a toy maker joining forces with the Scarecrow to seek revenge against Batman. This could have made for quite the creepy duo. One of the big issues with DC Comics crossovers is when human characters with little to no superpowers are pit against superhumans. Characters like the Joker or Catwoman wouldn't really stand a chance against Green Lantern or Superman's enemies unless getting some kind of superpower boost like Harley did, as you will see later in this video. When Injustice and Masters of the Universe characters were put in the same world in a specific comic book series, Harley had to fight buffed and super strong warriors without getting any serum boost or powers of any kind. The word fight might be even a bit too strong of a word, since she was KO'd after just one single kick from He-Man's buddy Teela. Ouch. In Suicide Squad, we've seen Harley Quinn jump straight into a pool of highly corrosive chemical without getting a single burn. While Jared Leto's Joker did the same without really getting hurt either, we can't say the same about Jack Nicholson's disfigured Joker. This could hint at a little secret power she received in the comics, and also why Amanda Waller would want her to join her special task force. Besides the fact that she's fun to look at when destroying stuff, Harley has super healing abilities. At some point in time, the very green Poison Ivy injected her with a serum that would give her new and shiny regenerative abilities, allowing her to heal in a matter of seconds. It's a good power to have when you literally enjoy running into traffic. In the Countdown comic book series, Harley Quinn, accompanied by Mary Marvel and Holly Robinson, chased Granny Goodness to Apocalypse. When arriving on the planet, the trio found out that the Greek gods had been imprisoned on it. Mary, being a good girl and all, heard the gods' plea and freed them, which led all the powerful beings to restore her lost powers. But since Harley and Holly joined the fun, they also were gifted with cool superpowers to help them in the fight against the new gods. Thalia of the 9 Muses, who is the goddess of comedy, took an obvious liking to the funky clown, and granted her super strength and made her super resistant to hits. This allowed the group to take down the soldiers of Apocalypse with glory and style. Harley Quinn's origin story is most of the time linked to the Joker. We learn how she treated him, how he manipulated her, and made her the crazy clown she is today. But what if I tell you she was crazy way before that? After all, she did fall for a creepy, murderous clown with green hair. During her doctoral studies, she worked on a project where she was testing the theory that people go against the law when they are in love with somebody. According to her, it pushes them to go beyond reason and do whatever it takes to keep the flame alive. At the time, she even convinced her ex that she accidentally shot someone when she was stealing the victim's car, which led to more chaos when her ex shot a homeless person and then ended his own life. In some ways, she's the living proof that her theory is true, or perhaps she's just pushing for it to be. Harley met with a lot of characters in her lifetime. The Masters of the Universe characters, Greek Muses, the Amazons, and even the Lantern Corps, which I will get to in a little bit later in this video. In one of her adventures towards redemption, she left for an island and joined the Amazons. In number 43 of the Countdown series, she is without the crazy colorful makeup and brand new attire. The Amazon women who welcomed her with open arms trained her to become an amazing warrior. It seemed to have announced a new chapter in Harley's life, a more disciplined and clean one. But it didn't take long for her to realize she was only playing a character before she went back to Crazy Town and resumed her old ways. Harley's powers shift and change just like her mood. Most of them are temporary or simply are never to be talked about from one series to the other. While her main mode is purely human, she's a skilled martial artist, an amazing gymnast who could have made it to the Olympics, and she's brilliant. Brilliantly evil, that is. No, really. If she didn't meet the Joker at Arkham Asylum, she might have become something entirely different. An achieved researcher and psychiatrist, a super intelligent hero, or even an evil mastermind. All that being said, she does, however, have one recurring power that keeps coming back thanks to Poison Ivy. Now and then she becomes immune to poisons or toxins, which could be useful for a fight against the Scarecrow. She doesn't need to hallucinate more than she already does, right? Harley Quinn got back with the Joker in Batman White Knight, and things got a little out of control, as they always do, which resulted in Harley expecting a little green-haired baby. Or something like that. All this madness arrives when the Joker is seemingly cured of his insanity, getting rid of the makeup and manic panic hair dye. He suddenly started going by the name Jack Napier, a nod to Tim Burton's 1989 Joker who went by the same name before falling into chemicals that look more like green goo than anything else. But of course, things were a little too good to be true for Harley when Jack went back to his crazy ways real quick as the infamous Joker smile appeared on his face. Harley Quinn was never the kind of girl to inherit meta-human abilities. Unlike the Flash, El Diablo, or Black Canary, her real power lies, well, in her insane imagination and also luck. Explosions and flying bullets just won't seem to even graze her. As I said before, she's quite flexible and acrobatic. And while she includes these skills while fighting, her punches were pretty much at human-level strength. But all that changed when her BFF and lover Poison Ivy gave her that infamous serum I mentioned a bit earlier. This allowed Harley to use her usual speed with extra super-powered punches and kicks. And I don't even want to imagine what she could be able to do with that funky trademark sledgehammer of hers. She endured a lot of abuse at the hand of that psychotic Joker, and while she is responsible for a lot of crimes they did together as a team, she was also one of his most tragic victims. Having an on and off affair with Poison Ivy, she always seems to go back to the monster that, to some extent, created her. For someone with a brain like her, she surely simplifies all the horrible things Joker has done in the past when she just condones his psychotic behavior by saying, "Boys will be boys." It might have taken her a lot of time to get over Mr. J in the DCEU, but things seem to be looking up as she becomes her own woman in the live-action film Birds of Prey, after blowing up Ace Chemicals, which stood as a wicked monument of their love for each other. Some people are dog people, while other people are more cat people. But Harley Quinn is neither of those. Nope. Not that she doesn't love animals, but she's without a doubt a hyena person. If you think about it, they do have a lot of things in common. Hyenas laugh like maniacs when scavenging for food, and Harley, well, she laughs like a maniac when on the prowl for some poor soul to torture, or even to save for that matter. She's just that cheery, you know? In Birds of Prey, when searching for a pet to fill the void that the Joker left when he threw her out, she falls head over heels for a hyena, and then proceeds to feed the dirty store owner to her new kitty dog. I mean, he kinda deserved it. We've come to know Harley as someone quite fluid when it comes to who she likes. While she loved Joker forever and a day, she also had eyes for Batman, Poison Ivy, Deadshot, and even the Themyscira warrior princess. But did you know she was a hardcore Wonder Woman fan? On the cover of Harley's Little Black Book #1, Diana and her swap costume in a very pinup kind of way. There's clearly something going on between the two. Whenever she gets the chance, the ponytail clown hugs Diana, like in the 4th issue of the Justice League vs. Suicide Squad. And to make things even more weird, because that's what she's all about, Harley has a shrine dedicated to her favorite princess and member of the Justice League. During a 2018 crossover with Archie Comics, Harley got into a fight with Betty, while Poison Ivy took care of Veronica. Both Archie Comics characters were dressed for a Halloween party as the new weirdos that apparently came out of nowhere. Things slightly got out of hand, as they often do around the player that is Archie, which led to a brawl between Harley and Betty. Interestingly though, Betty was able to hold her own against Harley, who, as we know, survived battles with more than one powerful opponent. You must be wondering who won. Unfortunately, we'll never know, since Sabrina the Teenage Witch and DC's magician Zatanna interrupted them mid-fight. Amazonian, empowered by Greek muses, super soldier. Red Lantern? Yep, that's right. In a weird twist of fate, Harley stumbled upon a power ring. In Harley's Little Black Book #2, she met with Hal Jordan and played with his green ring. This led her to being taken over by a red ring and a black ring, birthing the first ever red and black lantern. Now imagine that psycho with that kind of power. The first thing she did when acquiring these amazing powers is first fight Hal for the kicks, and then proceed to flirt with him for probably some illogical reason that we not-so-crazy people can't begin to understand. Before the Joker could get his face back in Death of the Family and proceed with one of the most horrifying acts he has ever done in the entire DC Comics collection, Harley went and stole it for herself. The clown's face was sitting as evidence in Gotham City Police's headquarters, and she thought it'd be a good idea to get her hands on it. Although the Suicide Squad tried to stop her, she didn't listen and went ahead and did it. To make the whole ordeal even more macabre, she knocked Deadshot cold and put the Joker's face on his for reasons. Without wasting a moment, she engaged in conversation with the Joker, or more like, Deadshot wearing his face. Okay, weird. Harley might be a hyena girl, but she surely loves her beaver.
Who's this?
It's a beaver.
While her two hyenas are very much alive, her beaver she named Bernie is not. Well, at least to others. Bernie, who first appeared in the self-titled comic book Harley Quinn, is a stuffed beaver who initially belonged to her ex-love interest, Bernie Bash. If everything I just mentioned wasn't weird enough, Bernie is actually Harley's closest friend. He is in fact her confidant. Bernie knows everything. He's seen everything, and he looks like he's been through hell and back with some of his face missing. But that's another story for another day. The first time we meet with Harley Quinn in the first Suicide Squad film, she's hanging gracefully in her cell. And as we know, she can make someone dead pretty quick. That is because before Harleen became Harley, the brilliant student got a gymnastics scholarship when getting into Gotham State University. Her first major was in veterinary and biological sciences, which says a thing or two about her love for her hyenas. She later on enrolled in a psychiatry program, which eventually led her to meet none other than the Joker. She might as well try out for the Olympics still, but something tells me she will end up breaking someone's bones or torch the whole place with the Olympic flame. Harley Quinn might not always look like the sharpest tool in the shed, but believe me when I say that she's amazingly bright. Sure, some of her wires are crossed at times, most of the times, but nevertheless, Dr. Quinn still has a PhD in psychiatry to her name. A graduate from Gotham State University, she got hired at Arkham Asylum after her studies, and that's where things got a little out of hand, as you know. In the comic book Harley Quinn Volume 1, Number 5, and more precisely in the larger-than-life chapter, it was revealed that her IQ was actually at a genius level. This statement was proven when she outsmarted not just one, but two bounty hunters and an ex-FBI profiler, so she could get her hand on a sweet loot made out of objects from the most prestigious heist in history. Dr. Wacko here was not always that vampire pale. Originally, she was just wearing white foundation, giving her her famous deadly pale complexion. But since 2011, things have changed a little bit. She was given a brand new origin story, which was featured in the Suicide Squad Volume 4, Number 7, a comic book which served as source material for David Ayer's 2016 movie Suicide Squad. The new Harley does not need to cake any white makeup on herself anymore. She's all naturally white. Well, maybe more like chemically white. Joker gave her a sort of baptism at the Ace chemical processing plant to make her in his image when he pushed her into a huge chemical vat. This apparently took out all of the pigmentation in her skin and most probably did some brain damage in the process. Since Harley doesn't have powers most of the time, she relies on weapons a lot. But not any kind of weapons. Nah, that wouldn't be any fun.
Point.
She has an array of bizarre weapons true to her overall clown-esque theme. Ayer's film made a baseball bat her trademark weapon in the DCEU, while she has been shown to wield a giant mallet in other iterations of the character. While she does own a pretty scary gun in the video game Injustice, from time to time she prefers pop-up guns, pogo sticks, or even rubber chickens. In Harley Quinn's world, literally everything can be a weapon. As you might have understood by now, Harley Quinn gets bored easily, and that is why she keeps joining teams here and there. Discovering the world is pretty fun, but it's even more fun when you can show your brand new toys, and by toys I mean weapons, to a whole lot of new friends around the planet.
You are so cool.
In Harley Quinn number 45, published in 2018, she was asked by Granny Goodness to join an all-women fighting team called Female Furies. These amazing female warriors were working under the all-powerful Darkseid. After proving she could join the team by defeating some Paramounts, Granny Goodness gifted her with an oversized magical hammer, which turned out to be one of the immensely powerful Mother Boxes. Tonight's last entry has a romantic side to it. While Joker might have been an obsession for Harley for a long time, her best partner is by far Poison Ivy. For way too long, approximately 14 years to be precise, their relationship was only mostly hinted at. The two lovebirds have been portrayed as best friends in Batman the Animated Series, but we knew all along what that meant. While some non-canon stories did confirm their relationship, it's not before the 2017 comic book Harley Quinn #25 that it was officialized in the main continuity. It was even revealed that the two tied the knot at some point in the Injustice series. Good for them. In the upcoming The Suicide Squad film trailer, Harley is walking around with what seems to be a golden spear. Quite the unusual weapon for the Lady Clown. The spear could actually be the Spear of Destiny, a super powerful weapon capable of great corruption. While it usually turns people into conquerors, this might have some interesting effect on Harley. Can't wait to find out.